Right here.
Hi, my name is Lindsay McGann, and this is Jessica Wilcox, and we're here from the UMass Extension Nutrition Education Program preparing our final recipe of the summer down at the Ruggles Farmers Market today. Today we're making a butternut squash soup, but we're doing it a little different than you're traditionally used to. Like a bisque would be creamy, a really rich soup. This soup has apples and pears in it, so it's a little lighter. It's better for like a mid-course meal for you to have. It's almost like a palate cleanser. It's not as rich, but it's really great and it's super easy. So we're going to show you how to do it. The first thing you're going to start with is, a lot of soups start with celery and onions. The good thing about this soup is you're going to end up pureeing it. So whatever your vegetables look like before going into the pan, you don't have to worry. So you're not trying to impress anybody with your knife cuts today. So I'm going to start with some celery. You can cut it reasonably big. Like I said, nobody's going to see it. And then your onions, which are always the dreaded thing to cut because they're always so hard to make them look nice. So you know, I always find that if I cut it in half first, it's easier to get the paper off. It's less of a fight. Instead of sitting there and trying to peel it as a whole onion.
Now sorry. In the recipe itself, you're going to have a cup of onion and then 3/4 of a cup of celery.
Remember, like I said, we don't care what this looks like right now, because it's all going to get cooked together. So you're going to saute it. That's what you're going to start with. We use the tablespoon of butter. If you're trying to go like full-on vegetarian, go ahead and use vegetable oil. It'll work just as fine. But make sure you get your butter or your oil nice and hot before it goes in, because then you'll be fighting with the pan to try to make it hot enough to actually saute and get that sizzle. And you're going to end up sauteing these until they are translucent. What that means is, well, when you look at an onion, right, it's kind of white. After a while, when you start to cook it, it starts to turn a little clear. And you start to smell it really good, and that's how you know when it's ready. And our butter's ready. So I'm going to slide in our celery and onions. Jessica's going to cook that while I show you everything else we're doing. Okay? You're going to have 1 apple and 1 pear. The recipe is also like a cup, but they should be about the same. If you don't have a pear, or like you went apple picking and you have a ton of apples, you just choose 2 apples. Not a big deal. So the easiest way I find, unless you have a corer, is cut the apple in half and then cut it in half again. And then you have all those seeds. If you just cut it at an angle, you'll pull those seeds right out. You can pretend that that didn't exist. That can go in your compost heap. You can peel it if you want. The recipe says that you can peel it, but you're going to puree it, so it's not a big deal if you leave the skin on. We did today. Like I said, it doesn't have to be pretty. Just smaller. You don't want to throw in like a whole apple, because it won't cook the same. You want all your pieces of stuff to be roughly the same size. Your apple, your onion, your celery, and the other stuff that we're going to put in later. Okay, and I also have over here chopped pear already. And then we have butternut squash. This is already chopped and cubed. You could use fresh because it's in season right now, but if you wanted, you could use the frozen, which comes chopped and cubed. You could use canned if that's what you could find. You could do it all year if you used canned or frozen. You ready?
Yep.
All right. So you're going to add all those ingredients in. Your pears, your apples, and your squash. Got a lot of squash. And then what you're going to add to it is vegetable broth. You don't have to necessarily use vegetable broth. You can use chicken broth if you had it. I don't think I would try beef, but maybe like chicken or a vegetable broth. Add that in. If you didn't have enough broth and you were into the sweeter, the apple and the pear flavor, it would be okay if you used some like apple juice to loosen it up a little bit. But you're just going to bring that to a boil. Add a little bit of salt and pepper and a bay leaf. Bring it to a boil until the vegetables and the fruit start to soften a little bit, probably about 10 minutes if it's a canned or a frozen squash, and it would probably be closer to half an hour if it was a fresh squash. But until they get soft, and when they do get soft, you're going to take this whole pot, pour it into your blender, make sure it's cool enough, or you leave the top vented, because if not, your blender will pop the top right off. And you're going to puree it, and then you have your butternut squash soup with apples and pears. So it's as easy as that. I hope you guys try it. Again, my name's Lindsay McGann, and this is Jessica Wilcox, and this is our final week down at the Ruggles Farmers Market for 2011. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day. And it's not too rich. It's very light. I like this. You know, typically, like butternut squash soup is more like this.
Heavy cream and that.
I like the apples and pears. That sounds good.
It is really nice. It just enhances the soup.
And maybe I can get my little one to eat butternut squash.
It's a nice way to get children to try a vegetable they might not think they would like. So yes, definitely. The flavors.
That's delicious.
Yeah. You say that like it's a bad thing. I can't wait. I bet.
Oh, when we peel it, we have a machine. We never used to. Before we used to peel all that stuff. Yeah, I don't have to. Right here.